I'm Gardener Koo, and this is Nacho, and here are the 8 steps you need to become a seed starting pro. Seed starting at home can be a real great way to save money on buying plants from the nursery. But most importantly, you get to buy all the coolest stuff. Nurseries don't carry a hundredth of what you can find from seed companies. Think like new flavors like cinnamon basil or unusual tomatoes for your zone to rare flowers like Spanish flag. So here are the 8 steps you need to do, and let's begin. First, you're going to need trays and pots. I recommend getting 2 different size pots, one 4-pack and the other a 4-inch pot. The plants you start in the 4-inch pots are the types that don't like to have their roots disturbed, and they also don't want their roots to touch the sides of the pots. This would be your squashes, cucumbers, melons, and sunflowers. When planting these, you want to get the plants out of the plastic pots as gently as possible and place them in a prepared hole, and then just push the soil in around it. Think nitroglycerin, and you're doing this correctly. For all the other seeds, I use 4-packs. For trays, I have these sturdy ones I got from Amazon that I can reuse year after year, but feel free to get the black plastic ones from the hardware store. Just make sure they're watertight and never move them when they have water in them. It is just a great way to get water all over you. Now, here is one of the tricks for seed starting: always water from below. Watering from above invites all sorts of diseases to the party when your seedlings are really at their most vulnerable. The second thing you'll need for starting your seeds is light. LEDs have made seed starting so much better. You can use these little artificial suns to start your seeds weeks earlier than they would have normally, and they don't take a ton of power like they used to. I zip tied 3 of them to each level, and then each level is a little bigger than the last, so I can move the seedlings down the tower while getting them up to size. I have my lights set to a timer for 14 hours a day. The third thing you want to get is a heating mat with a probe. Seeds really respond well to bottom heat, and this will make them sprout so very much faster. Different seeds like different temperatures, so you should really look at the seed packet. But it does basically fall into 2 groups. There's the spring-fall plants, and then there's the summer plants. Spring-fall ones like 70-75 degrees, and this includes your brassicas like kale and cabbage, as well as other plants like lettuce and chard. Summer crops predictably like it a little warmer, so 80-85 degrees. And this group includes, tomatoes, melons, and chilies. The fourth thing you need to start your seeds is your soil medium. I prefer the Miracle Grow Yellow. It has a ton of peat moss in it, which seedlings just love. It also has a wetting agent, which means the soil gets evenly moist with no dry pockets. And finally, a slow release fertilizer, which most seedling mixes do not have, and it just baffles me. So fill the pots and the 4-inch packs outside with the soil dry. I repeat, dry. This makes life so much easier. The wetting agent will make sure the soil evenly moist once you add water. Once you have your seeds sown and place the flat on the heating mat and then add the water in place. This will save you a ton of hassle, as well as not spilling water over absolutely everything. I usually add about a gallon of water after the seeds are in place. I do use more if I'm using 4-inch pots. Numero 5 is the most important, and there are a few general rules here, but it is super simple. Read the seed packet. Most important rule. Read it. The packet should have all the information you need to successfully start the seeds. Why? Well, some seeds need light to germinate. These you press lightly into the top of the soil. Seeds that don't need light to germinate, you want to plant them half the depth of their width. So if you have like a big seed, like a logan fruit or a bean, you're going to be planting it half an inch down. But if you're planting kale, they have, itsy bitsy seeds. And so I just run my garden shears through the top of the soil and sprinkle those seeds into the trough I created. I once started seeds that required fire to germinate. So I set a small, very, very small fire on the top of one of the pots, and it worked too. That is why reading the seed packet is so important. Number 6 may be the second most important, and it might seem like the least: plant tags. If you're growing like 20 different types of tomatoes, it is really imperative that you know which one is which, because some tomatoes get 1 foot tall, while others can get 8 feet tall and keep growing until they get cut down by frost. And as seedlings, they look identical. So label your plants, save yourself some existential pain later. Next, you need the dome of humidity. This seventh thing is super easy, and it comes next to the black trays at the hardware store. The dome keeps the seedlings moist. It speeds germination. So after you are done sowing and you've hydrated the soil, you don't have to do any additional thing until germination. Once the seeds germinate, do promptly remove the dome of humidity. For plants that you're sowing that are in 4-inch pots, the dome doesn't fit. In this case, you use a piece of plastic wrap and you flip it daily until the seeds germinate. Flipping it stops the buildup of harmful pathogens. You can also do this on the flats without the dome, but it is kind of a hassle. Finally, to number 8. And this one could not be easier. After the seeds are out of the dome of humidity and they have their first couple sets of true leaves, you want to point a small fan at them. This helps them strengthen their stems and it gets them ready for, real world conditions. I just plug it into the same timer as the lights and there you go. You can find all of the products that I've talked about in this video in the description. I'm Gardener Koo. This is Nacho. Thank you for watching and go get your hands dirty.